Ms. Thunberg, let me ask you a question. If you're sailing across the ocean and you're picking up trash along the way, and for every one piece of trash that you pick up, there's a boat right next to you dumping out 5 pieces, how would that make you feel?
If you use that logic, then I am also dumping a lot of trash in the ocean. And then I would stop dumping my trash in the ocean and tell the other boat to stop dumping their trash in the ocean as well.
And that's the important point here. I think that what we need to be doing is we need to be focusing on the countries that are dumping trash in the ocean. Of course, that's a metaphor. The fact that China is, here we are talking about reducing emissions, yet China, under the Paris Accords, are going to be increasing their emissions by nearly 50%, 5 gigatons annually. So while in the United States we need to continue investing in innovative solutions and exporting clean energy technologies, it makes no sense for us to be doing it if we're simply watching for increases in China.
I have a question. When your children ask you, did you do absolutely everything in your power to stop the climate crisis, when the storms are getting worse and we're seeing all of the effects of the climate crisis, when they ask you, did you do everything? Can you really look them in the eye and say, no, sorry, I couldn't do anything because that country over there didn't do anything, so if they're not going to do it, then I'm not? That is shameful, and that is cowardly. And so I just don't understand, as a parent, how can you look your kid in the eye and say, there's this impending crisis, everything is at stake. But I stood back and I didn't really do anything. I didn't take action. I didn't act like it was an emergency because our neighbors over there weren't doing it. So I'm just not going to. How can you tell your children that?
I think I don't need to add anything, but just another perspective. I am from Sweden. It's a small country. And there it is the same argument. Why should we do anything? Just look at the US, they say. So just so you know, that is being used against you as well.
My time has elapsed, so I recognize you for your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Thunberg, thank you for your involvement here today. I commend you for your willingness to testify and get involved with public policy. In the past, when you're talking about climate change, you have said, quote, I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. Is there, what particular study or scientific report did you read that made you come to this conclusion?
Thank you for your question. First of all, let me just clear that those are metaphors. In speeches, you often use metaphors. Of course, I don't mean literally that I want people to panic. So there was no scientific study that made me come to that conclusion.
Oh, okay, so you didn't say that.
I did, but it's a metaphor that you often use in speeches.
Metaphor for what? I mean, how do you, what I'm asking on panic, I want you to panic. What does that, tell me what you meant by that?
By that, I mean that I want people to step out of their comfort zones. And to not just see the climate crisis as a far distant threat, but rather as something that is impacting people already today. And people to step out of their comfort zones to start taking real action. Okay.
What in your opinion is on the ppm parts per million, what is acceptable, permissible on CO2 emissions in your opinion? What actual amount do you think is permissible?
Well, I mean, of course, there is no magic amount that says that this is an okay amount. The science doesn't really work that way. But of course, we can say that it is the higher the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere is, the bigger the risks are going to be. So, I mean, you can't say that there's one amount that is acceptable and not. Of course, there's not one magic tipping point where everything is beyond saving and so on. But rather, we should try to keep it as low as possible.
Okay, so you would name a particular number. What about China, India, the other countries where there's if this bill passes, there's no retribution against these countries that's going to offset anything we do here in America? What is your take on that?
Well, if we just thought like that, it would be very convenient, wouldn't it? But rather, we need to see the holistic perspective. How can we, if we take, for example, India as an example, how can we expect India to take action when the developed countries who have actually promised to lead the way won't do that? When if we take into account the global aspect of equity, I mean, there are many people around the world who need to be able to raise their standard of living. And if we who live in high income countries aren't able to take a few steps back in order to let other people raise their living standard, then, I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. And of course, those countries definitely need to take their responsibility as well. And that's why we need global cooperation. And if countries won't take action, then there's no global cooperation. If the US, for example, which is the biggest emitter in history, won't take action, then how can we expect other countries to do that? So taking action ourselves is also a guarantee that other countries, I mean, it will be a snowball effect, most likely. If one country does something, then other countries will follow. If no country does something, then no one will follow.
Okay, so China is an example, which is a communist. They practice genocide on their people. They will watch America and then will just voluntarily reduce their emissions. Is that your thoughts?
No, I mean, we should do, of course, everything we can to make sure that China takes the responsibility. But I mean, there is not really much. I mean, all I can do is to try to advocate for global change. All you can do is to take action and try to create a global pressure on China so that they will have to take action. As you say, we can't just go there and ask them to do it. That would be very nice, but yeah, we need to think realistically as well.
Yeah, there's nothing in the bill that puts any type of pressure other than, I guess, showing the example. Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Macarola. Can you address the direct employment in the United States that the Green New Deal would affect? We're all seeing the gas prices jump 70 cents or more. We're now dependent on foreign countries that particularly don't have our best interests. Can you discuss how this Green New Deal would affect energy costs, gas costs, and the many other minerals that they are prohibiting to be mined in other states?
Sure. Thank you for your question, Congressman Norman. I think it's first important to look at the job creation within the oil and gas industry. We support 10 million jobs in the U.S. economy, nearly 7% of the U.S. economy. On this committee alone, 325,000 jobs supported by the industry, 75,000 directly. And let's talk about what the tax increases that are being proposed would do. In 2017, as a result of reducing the corporate tax rate, we created over a period of 19 straight reports the lowest poverty rate in 60 years since the government kept that statistic. We created jobs for 19 straight months with wage growth over that period of time prior to the pandemic. The reason we did that was 70% of the savings from the tax cuts went directly to wages. That's right into the American people's pockets. On energy, what has the result been on energy of the American energy revolution? Over the past decade, as increases in costs have gone up by double digits in healthcare, education, and food costs, energy costs have gone down by 15%. The tax proposals considered here would drive those costs up. That would mean real costs for consumers. That would mean jobs. it's essential that we not go in that direction. Thank you for your question, Congressman.
Okay, you would agree corporations don't pay taxes. People pay taxes, don't they?
People do pay taxes.
And the fact that the depreciation schedules differ from industry to industry, the oil and gas industry is not like my industry, the real estate business. It's a different type of business. One size doesn't fit all. Would you agree?
One size does not fit all for all industries. That's right, Congressman.
Ranking Member Norman, I want to give you some more time. Your time has been expired, but I want to be polite. So maybe just one or two more.
Well, that's fine, Chairman. I didn't. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
can answer the question, the witness.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the question, Ranking Member. I think what you try to do in a tax code is to provide revenues to meet government services, but you need to ensure a fair return for the taxpayer, but also U.S. competitiveness. We are in an increasingly globally interconnected world where competitiveness is essential. Some of the provisions that the chairman discussed would directly impact that competitiveness, particularly the double taxation on income earned or on taxes paid overseas. So it's absolutely essential that you look through the lens of U.S. competitiveness as you establish provisions within the tax code. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Ranking Member. I now want to recognize